All right, everyone, we start off today with a reminder. Kamala Harris is unhinged. She's quite literally a psychopath, and she's exceptionally dangerous. Now, I don't mean to blackpill anyone. You've got a lot of that going on right now. Astroturfing, blackpilling, all that, the wall of propaganda bullshit. It's not a honeymoon period. It's the Kasich effect, actually, that's buoying Kamala a bit right now. I'm not afraid of her winning, like in the inevitable sense. I guess she runs ahead of Joe Biden for, what little that's worth. But it is worth noting how completely screwed up she is. We're talking, and by the way, let me put one aside here. When Republicans in general, or people that simply don't like Kamala, independents like myself, call her a DEI hire, that's perfectly true. That is the reason she was chosen as the running mate for Joe Biden, to counterbalance this old white dude, twice her age almost. That's true. That's not really something that independent voters, though, are going to be generally receptive towards, because it's going to be tainted as racist or sexist or something like that. Doesn't need to be true in order to be optically poor. You can have something where you're stating a fact, but the optics of it are generally not going to be well received by the voting blocs you would want to convince. Keep in mind, Kamala Harris was a tyrannical prosecutor who put thousands, or probably tens of thousands, of people in prison for minor offenses for extended periods of time, who then embraced defund the police. And she did. She's on record, link in the description, archived of course, she's on record as having supported that movement before she was chosen as running mate, of course. Very, very convenient timing on that one, by the way. She has been a total dipshit on diplomacy. Basically a no-see-um vice president. We barely even have a platform to attack because, and I think this is the point, because she never really, crawled out of the White House for the most part. I think that it's going to be them hiding Kamala Harris more than anything. She'll go to some of her little diminutive rallies and, spout vacuous slogans, but other than that, they're probably going to try to keep her off the national stage so that they can try to keep the Kasich effect going. The more people are exposed to Kamala Harris, the less they like her. And this is a problem right now because people haven't really been exposed to her, generally speaking. They don't know very much about her, so, they're like, well, if they're not, on the Trump train or something, they're like, well, I know a lot about Donald Trump. I know X, Y, and Z. These are the platform planks, basically, that he's working with, but they really don't have anything to talk about with Kamala Harris. I would point out this could also be flipped into an advantage, though, for the Trump team. That is, that people don't know anything about Kamala Harris. Ask them the question, why? Why don't you know anything about what Kamala Harris is actually promoting? Why do you think that is? That's because they're hiding her. She didn't do anything. And she doesn't want to talk about the fact that she didn't do anything. She was an absentee, sort of like a Dick Cheney vice presidency. We even have to give Mike Pence credit for having come out into the sunlight more often than she has. Basically, she does the Easter egg roll at the White House. She goes and meets with a couple of foreign dignitaries, and then she calls it a day. That's basically all she's done as vice president. Also, Kamala Harris is indeed the border czar. That needs to be something that people are reminded of as well. When you see, there's a reason the legacy media is no longer running videos of, the migrants, stacked at the border waiting to cross, because she was border czar. She was officially tasked with giving and receiving advice and counsel and giving suggestions on how to solve that problem. She fundamentally failed. So we've got somebody who praised the idea, during a crime wave, by the way, of defunding the police, had a role in that, but who also had been tough on crime, or not for meaningful crimes, but for lesser offenses, stacking them up and giving felony charges because somebody had an ounce and a half of marijuana, disproportionately, by the way, the BIPOC individuals that the Democratic Party wants to wine and dine. And then you have all of these other problems, basically, with Kamala. Now, Trump will debate her in September, and I have no doubt that he will, by the way, attend the debate. when he's a little bit non-committal, what he's really referring to is the fact that technically speaking, because unlike Biden, who is the incumbent obvious nominee should he choose to run, Kamala's not an incumbent. There could still be a last-minute jostling within the Democratic Party in which some sort of dissent overturns her candidacy. It's not going to happen, but on paper, technically, it is possible for that to occur. I like how Shapiro came out the other day. She's like, well, Trump is now afraid to debate Kamala Harris. Now, I think he would rather debate her, actually, than to debate Joe Biden. And the thing is, at least up until that debate, don't expect her to flesh anything out or make too many public appearances. This would be a wise decision for her because, again, the more people see of her, the less that they like her. She's unlikable, uncharismatic, and vacuous. That's the other thing. Sometimes it's difficult to hit Kamala Harris simply because the things that she says, they just sort of amble around over and over again, and you're not even sure exactly what the fuck she's talking about. If anything, if any criticism of Trump I've had, for example, and you know this if you've watched my material before, Trump pisses me off, less now, he's getting better at it, with his extreme non-linear approach to how he speaks. So he'll be on subject, and he'll be talking about, like, let's say, immigration or something, but then he'll randomly point off into the crowd and start talking about someone's suit or something like that. It's very non-linear. It's a boardroom approach where he just rambles, and it pisses me off. Kamala has the same problem on steroids, though. In her case, it's more incoherence. That is, she'll say something that sounds like it's meaningful, but there's no actual meaning to it. I compare her to The Sound and the Fury, which is, by the way, one of the worst books ever written. English teachers love to force you to read it because they think that it's wonderful to torture people. I have a feeling that most English teachers are sadomasochists, actually. They like to suffer and they like to make others suffer along with them. I had to read that book. I had to read Grapes of Wrath, of Mice and Men. I've had to read Great Gatsby 3 fucking times. How many more depressive pieces of literature are you going to stack in these fucking kids' book bags? I mean, Jesus Christ. I've had this experience before. Really like Renaissance literature, though. Took that at Castleton. Great course. She's dangerous. She's unhinged. Biden's not a danger to the Republic, for example. He's so out to lunch that other people who are more competent are making the decisions generally. Jill Biden is effectively the acting president of the United States sometimes. Here, honey, I've chosen these socks for you. Eat your bran muffin. You know, pat him on the head and just say, don't worry, you did a great job at the debate last night. It went so well. Totally, half the party is not calling for you to drop out right now, dear. Don't watch. Don't turn the TV on. You don't need to watch TV in the morning. Don't do that. Don't read the newspaper. No. Here's The Sound and the Fury. Maybe she does have a PhD in English, so poor Joe. With Kamala, she's more dangerous, though, because she's actually got a mind of her own. And she's going to do the girl boss thing if she gets into office. And just like the problem I had with Hillary Clinton, she's going to want to prove that she's one of the big boys. I've got the nuclear codes. Yeah, let me show you. That's what I'm worried about with the Kamala presidency. I would genuinely be worried about World War III. People are underestimating the danger. Some of them are being flippant and be like, oh, President cackles. Okay, that's perfectly fine. That's fun. Yeah, DEI hire, cackles, cankles, etc., etc. That's great. The problem is that she could do real damage, actually, if elected. It would genuinely be worrisome. You get all of Joe Biden's shitty policies, plus a megadose of them, in some cases, moving it even further to the left, by the way, at least on economic issues, while you have this lopsided flip-flopping mentality with regards to crime and the border and all these other things, but you have the person being self-aware. That is, that their ego is still fully intact, and they feel a need to prove themselves. Well, your chief executive, your commander-in-chief, how are you going to prove your mettle? By flinging metal at your opponents, basically. Unfortunately, I think that there would be a broad regional war that the United States would be involved in. Inflation certainly will not be tackled in a proper manner. I think that she would raid the coffers and print trillions of extra dollars in order to fund random projects, probably building upon the so-called infrastructure bill. It'd be almost like a Chavez platform. She is a socialist. effectively. She's a left-wing authoritarian, as though there was any other kind, to tell the truth. She is dangerous. Biden's just out to lunch. He's just fucking demented. He's not a danger to the Republic. Yeah, some of his ideas are retarded, but he's not a danger, an existential danger to the actual country. I don't think that we can really weather 4 more years of this kind of economic policy, moving it even further to the left, while having the kind of weird domestic policy that we can flesh out from what she said publicly, which is very little. Again, ask people, why do you think you don't hear more from Kamala? Oh, the legacy media talks about her all the time. Why don't we have more of her talking about what she wants to do as president? Because it's basically just a continuation of Biden, nudged to the left, and then uttered in incoherent terms about vacuous slogans when she comes out on stage. They don't want to talk about her rally. No, I mean, to like 70 people at that nursing home. They don't want to... Why do you think she's holding, like, diminutive rallies? She's paying more money to hold the fucking rally than she's ever getting from the nursing home patients. Why do you think she did that? It's so that it wouldn't be as public. So there wouldn't be as many people talking about it. Because the more people know about Kamala, the more they fucking hate her. That's about all. Peace out.